Episode 5 of Star Wars The Clone Wars is the titular Rookies, and quite frankly, it's probably the best episode we've seen so far. It actually does manage to introduce the clone troopers to the audience, so you actually have some personality attached to Heavy, Echoes, and 5. Whether they be stuck up on the rules or want to go on the front lines and see some actual action because they feel like they're ready, despite the fact they haven't really finished their training as of yet, and have been stationed on an outpost. While boring, that is very important in the war effort since it actually is in the way of one of the hyperlanes that leads to Camino. It also turns up the threat of the droids by introducing us to the new droid commandos, which tend to be better shots, or at least they come across as better shots than the regular battle droids. And they aren't played up for comedic effect, so they seem like they're more serious, we're going to get the job done kind of droids. Albeit they're still a bit on the stupid side, considering how easily Rex managed to trick one by simply bending out of the way of a camera, then lifting up a droid head to convince it that it really was a droid instead of a clone trooper wearing its armor. But I guess we have to deal with the limitations. I mean, if the droids weren't that stupid, or at least stupid enough to fall for a trick that obvious that even Commander Cody thought would fail, we'd be a bit more upset too, considering the episode probably wouldn't work. So I guess we get stuck with plot convenience a bit, which is always a limitation, I guess, in just about any written work or movie or any story really. There always seems to be some things that happen that are just a bit too neat. The droids' commanders being this dumb is one of them. Especially since it doesn't look like the droid itself is turned on, deactivated, yet they still open the doors anyway. It seems sort of unbelievably stupid. They even think something is suspicious because it doesn't sound like a droid. And yet they still open the door because they think, oh, it's just the droid's vocabulary that's acting up, I guess. I just don't get it. I guess I should just get used to the droids being easily tricked. Maybe we'll see some smarter actual combat droids later on. But the current set, even with the new droid commandos, is a bit on the dumb side. Though at least they're more of a serious threat and don't get played up for comedic effect like we've seen the regular battle droids the last several episodes in the movie. That just isn't really acceptable in my opinion. This is a series built around a war. It should feel more serious in tone. While there can be moments of levity, the droids should not feel like they're a source of it. They're cold, metallic beings programmed to carry out actions. Yes, they can have personalities, and we've seen that with C-3PO and R2-D2 and stuff, but why would you make the droids have such a Three Stooges feel to them? Even if you were a program, you'd think they'd be programmed to be highly aggressive and maybe even somewhat suspicious of just about anything they catch that feels out of the norm. Instead, they're programmed to be unbelievably dumb, lax in their duties, it seems like somewhat, and highly incompetent when it comes to actual battlefield tactics. You wouldn't think they'd be such horrible shots, but it seems that they can't hit the broadside of a barn. The new droid commandos do feel like they solved the last problem a bit. They do seem to be better shots, albeit the blaster fire in the episode feels like it's incompetently taken care of to some extent. Because you'll be seeing the clones shooting blue laser bolts, and sometimes the droids will be getting hit with red laser bolts when they fall down. I guess you can argue it's friendly fire, but that doesn't make much sense when they're all shooting towards the clones and haven't even surrounded them yet. Or maybe at that point they were surrounded, but I can't imagine the droids be that bad of shots, especially when the clones are pinned down in a way that really wouldn't make shooting them like that very plausible. Then again, the droids are horrendously bad shots, so maybe they went wide. Maybe I'm just deceiving myself into thinking they're better shots in this episode. Or maybe it's just plot convenience that makes them better marksmen. Albeit it is a bit convenient for the plot that the droids are so easily tricked. Because Rex manages to outsmart one by just lifting up a droid head after walking up to the door pretending he was a droid reporting in for duty, so apparently they're still pretty dumb if they can be tricked by just lifting up the head of a deactivated droid in front of a camera. But will the series itself get better? Well, this episode definitely shows promise, because it at least introduced us to the clones before it started giving them the axe. And that's important, I think. You have to establish a character before you kill them, otherwise there's no real merit in it. You can kill as many generic, unknown characters as you want. Unless I know who they are, I'm not really going to have that much of an attachment to them. Yes, their deaths are horrible, but it's war. People die all the time. Unless I feel attached to them, I'm going to expect them to die. It's sort of like all the red shirts in Star Trek. You almost know as soon as they go down with an actual important character, they're going to bite the dust. So it feels hard to like sum up the ability to feel empathy for the character because you know they're pretty much there to die. I think that's about all I have to say about this episode. It definitely improves upon the last couple episodes because you feel like there's actual characters dying instead of just generic clone 1862. I guess I'll watch the next episode tomorrow. I've been doing this on a daily basis, so I guess I should keep that up, right? At least the episodes are short. And I get to make use of a webcam, finally.